Fair enough. But what are you into? Transformers? Pokemon, you fucking child?
As a happily single man in his late 20s, allow me to explain this phenomenon you ladies are turning into a trending sound. Ladies, you're talking to this guy in his late 20s, early 30s. He's got his shit together. He's a cool dude. You really, really like him, but he's really cautious to get into a relationship. You're gorgeous. You're beautiful. You're really into him, but he's too preoccupied building Legos and dressing up like Star Wars characters. There's a 90% chance he spent his entire adolescence, his teenage years, his early 20s in relationships, giving everything that he possibly could to these women that inevitably abandoned him, used him, or abused him. And look at him now. There he is, reading comic books, watching Lord of the Rings. You should be lucky if he asked you to a Nerf gun battle. For probably the first time in his life, he's putting what he loves in himself first. You might think it's nerdy, childish, immature. You might get mad at him for it, but trust me, it's nothing that he hasn't heard before from a woman. There's a lot of guys out there that know exactly what I'm talking about, and to those guys, feel free to come over anytime. We'll build Legos and drink beer together. I got you. And anyways, hope this helped. Follow me. I'm pretty funny.
Men are typically happier than women, especially without women in their lives. Even while the majority of women assert that all men are the same, especially when they are unhappy with their dating or married experiences, they hardly ever acknowledge their own unhappiness. Don't get me wrong, there are some girls who do identify and correct their mistakes, but it seems that they are a very small minority who take decisive action a bit too late. The problem is that a vociferous minority of delusional women are on social media, and that generates a lot of noise. Consequently, it conveys the impression that they predominate. This does not imply that you ought to think that everything in the world is fair and covered in sunshine and rainbows. Studies and common sense have shown that women are emotional and more prone than men to feel strong emotions, both good and bad, since emotions are what drive most human behavior. When fighting with a partner, they find it difficult to communicate logical concepts, which results in a never-ending cycle where the male employs logic to establish his point and the woman assumes she is correct. Regardless, situations like this are causing men to conclude that dating is a hassle rather than a fun activity. There are too many tests and not enough returns on investment. Surprisingly, men are happier than ever living the bachelor lifestyle, whereas modern women are becoming unhappier by the day. There are rumors that feminism has failed. Well, there is empirical evidence for it, not just rumors. Let me elaborate. Feminism sought to advance women's rights to things like employment, bank accounts, and other privileges of society that they were previously deprived of. The issue in the modern world is that this agenda has evolved into one of the most oppressive philosophies on the globe. Women who don't fully subscribe to feminism at this time in history are labeled as indoctrinated outsiders and meek. Naturally, if you're a male who disagrees with their absurd notions, you're an oppressor for both being a man and disagreeing with the cause. Overall, women today, particularly in Western countries, have the same, if not more, rights as males. But they feel that is insufficient and demand more. They are becoming slaves to their corporate occupations and frequently to consumerism and male approval, thanks to the so-called freedom. The majority of boss girls are just cogs in the machine, despite the fact that some women are rising to positions of authority. And let's face it, quotas are a major factor in the rise of women in a variety of institutions, including businesses, governments, and security services. The sole purpose of the girl boss movement is to gain influence and membership inside the sisterhood. The reality is that they are actually miserable. They're just trying to cope by convincing themselves that they're living their best lives, even when the reality is far different from what they portray on social media. The unfortunate truth is that women consume a lot of antidepressants and are generally unhappy with their life. In the dating market, young men sometimes struggle if they aren't adequately handsome, whereas even mediocre young women can quickly find love. The tables change once the 30 or 35-year-old mark is passed, and those men are now so committed to their goal that they either don't have time for dating or prefer younger women. The cycle is destined to repeat itself indefinitely, but we aren't here to grieve it. Instead, MGTOW men are actually enjoying their lives and are happier than the ladies flaunting designer purses, copious amounts of makeup, and a new partner every week. Men are inherently straightforward creatures. Therefore, their demands are limited to loyalty and a partnership free of conflict. Women, however, are more complex, and despite their assertions to the contrary, rarely uphold the standard of communication. Men who choose to go their own way have either learned about female nature through experience, or by looking at the cases of other men. At the end of the day, however, they are awakening and deciding to follow a different route that has nothing to do with the traditional happy wife, happy life. In fact, the phrase single life has totally taken the role of happy wife. The amazing thing about this is that women are earning more money than ever before, but they're also understanding that having money does not guarantee happiness. Before anyone assumes the worst, let me clarify that this is not a defense of financial instability or poverty. Chase a check, not a chick, as I often say, but you shouldn't devalue women for financial gain. To distract us from our goal, society has been successful in having us worship a variety of idols, including women. Because of this, many men waste time pursuing women and return to their goals too late. Fortunately, males can happily enjoy the results of their labor due to their discipline and basic lifestyle, whereas women spend too much money on things they don't truly need. Congratulations, women. You are finally making more money than ever. Are you happy now, or there's still something else that you want but don't know what it is yet? Here's the real truth. The hazardous occupations such as working in a coal mine or construction are excluded from the equality that women fought for. These are peasant jobs, and these strong women prefer their cozy corporate careers. The irony is that males are made to look for mothers who will take good care of their offspring rather than for women who can act as providers. Simply said, a man doesn't give a damn about a woman's accomplishments and actually loves basic, modest girls. Instead, he is aware that if she has spent enough time in a hostile setting, she will probably become more domineering and irritable. Therefore, dating these women does not make men happy. Money is not evil, as I have previously stated, but chasing it and even idolizing it is. Unfortunately, women have fallen into the myth that they may achieve happiness by just earning their own money. However, that is simply untrue. They have the propensity to blow it up rapidly and become caught in the rat race even with fat paychecks. Finally, feminism is a concern because it tries to differentiate treatment, but there are numerous more reasons why men are happier than women. For women, it has evolved into a new type of servitude, while intelligent men simply decide to give up on dating to concentrate on more worthwhile pursuits. Overall, I think women have it tough by nature as well. They're psychologically wired to be emotional and sometimes irrational. This, they cannot help. And with more and more women joining professions where they have to put a stop to their emotions all the time, is only going to hamper their own capacity to be feminine. Along with the fact that guys don't really want boss babes, this will make them unattractive to males. They seek babies that belong to them, babes with feminine traits, babes that are enjoyable to be with. Women who are sympathetic, hospitable, reassuring, and kind. Men want women to have a sense of peace on that level. Men have come to the realization that they are far better off without women as companions, girlfriends, and spouses in their lives. In addition, women are becoming aware of this and planning how, in the next years, fewer men will be lusting and scheming after them due to the thousands of them going their own ways. In addition, I believe women are aware that they cannot remain entirely dependent on males throughout their lives. Their strong, independent woman bubble eventually cracks, and they come to see how foolish it was to turn down wonderful men who wanted to have kids with them while they were in their 20s and at the height of their fertility. In general, women are reluctant to acknowledge the reality of this. No matter what they do or who they are, women believe they only deserve the finest. They expect it without giving anything back in exchange. Women steadfastly refuse to believe it despite constant reminders from society that they are overweight and not as attractive as they think they are. Instead, they encourage insults and male shaming, and they start entire campaigns to uphold their denial. Thank goodness things have changed as a result of the internet. The internet has given everything more context. They are starting to realize that accomplishing their ambitions will take a lot of work. Even highly desirable guys that women desirous are reluctant to start dating them straight away. Instead, they are engaging in extramarital romances with lovely, childless women. They like housewives who can cook well and don't want to go out and party. They have started to see how flawed the traditional strategy is. They lack the same inward motivation that males do. They only assess their worth in light of their SMV, and as they see it vanish, they start to feel sad. This then triggers a new melancholy cycle in which therapists and medical professionals prescribe them antidepressants. However, that is a different tale for another day. The age-old phrase of happy wife means a happy life is no more. It's more like no wife means a happy life.